Hello, this is perhaps the most important video I will ever do. The reason being is that it really touches so many people. So many people are affected by this. And I was really stuck in this particular issue. And no matter what I did, no matter how much I searched, I just go back to the same place. And I just never know why, although I've seen it. The problem is victimhood, being a victim, feeling like a victim. Now, first of all, what does it mean? What do I mean by feeling like a victim? A lot of people feel like they have been wronged in life. Now, I have felt that way about my life. Being a victim means you feel like you are a victim of life. Now, you might feel like you have been a victim of trauma, therefore you're a victim. Therefore, there's something wrong in the way you were brought up. Now, let me tell you my story a little bit. And I'm going to get very vulnerable here in order for you to understand what I mean. Now, how it really manifests in me, how I felt like I was a victim. Well, first of all, I didn't like my body. I didn't like how I looked. And I was really insecure about how I looked. I was really insecure about my height, but also about my hair. I didn't like that I didn't have much hair, and it started to fall away. And I really walked around in life really not satisfied with how I looked. And it really pissed me off even more that I couldn't control any of these things. They're just part of me. So I really felt like a victim. I felt like God did not make me right. I don't know if you can relate to this. It's a really hard feeling to go around with, and it really revolves around shame. That I felt so shameful around it. So that is in terms of the way I look. But that's not the only reason why I felt like a victim. I also felt like a victim because I did not have a good childhood. Now, a lot of people, a lot of you watching me can relate to this. You didn't have the best childhood. And so I felt like, my parents should have been nicer to me. They should have recognized how I felt. They should have, been kinder to me. Now, is that true? Yes, true. Well, it is perhaps true that your parents, my parents, should have been nicer to us. But guess what? They did the best they can. But I obviously didn't recognize that. I felt like, they should have done a better job. So now, by the way, all of this is unconscious. It's not that like I was playing the role of a victim. It's not like I was saying, oh, I hear it, I am, poor me, I'm a victim. It's not like that. Being a victim is a role. Being a victim is like a dream. You're in the dream. You feel inside, unconsciously, that you're a victim. Yeah, and that you're weak, that you cannot do something. So it is really a problem, isn't it? Because it really manifests in every aspect of your life, right? So let me tell you, because it's really important to go back into the first time you felt like a victim. It's really important to go back to the first story or the first few stories that you felt like a victim. Because you'll start to understand, okay, that's when the seed of victimhood started to grow. Probably now it's a tree. So, but this is really important. Let me tell you about myself. Now, the first time I felt like a victim that I can remember of is that I was living in a neighborhood, and I was a kid, I wanted to fit in, so I was trying to find some friends outside, and I found those group of people, group of kids, of boys, and those people hated me. They absolutely hated me. I don't know why. It was just so much hate towards me. Maybe because of where I'm from, maybe because my dad was in the army, or I don't know why, but they absolutely hated me. Because of that, they really got around every time to hit me. So I couldn't defend myself. I would try to hit somebody, try to defend myself, and then somebody from behind will pull me. And it was like 4 or 5 people, and they did that continuously. And I felt defenseless. I felt I could not do anything to help myself. Therefore, I started to feel like a victim because I was like, I cannot change that. So, therefore, I'm a victim. Now, obviously, that happened subconsciously. I didn't consciously say I'm a victim, but in my unconscious mind, I felt like I could not control that. So that was my first thing. Now, I want to go back to you. When was the first time you felt like a victim? Maybe when your parents maybe have said something angry at you, or maybe when they prevented you from going to your friends, you couldn't do anything. You felt like you're a victim. You felt like you're small. Being a victim means you feel small. Normally comes from childhood. When you're small, when you're weak, when you don't have much power, so you feel vulnerable. That's when it starts. It starts from that point of view. But guess what? We're not a kid anymore. And inside of us, subconsciously, we still feel like we are kids. So we're really emotionally having grown up if you're still in victimhood. And I will tell you about how I solved it and how I got out of myself out of victimhood. Because it's really important to understand it. I know a lot of people who are, they have been to therapy probably for 10 years, but they still feel like a victim. They still feel like they can't get over what their parents did, or their exes did, or whatever. And to give you the answer now simply is that it's a choice. It is really a choice. I know it's annoying to hear that because you feel like, how is it a choice? But it is a choice, guys. It's down to you when is right time for you to get out of victimhood. Now, let me tell you how it manifests. Now, you feel like a victim. Now, what does it manifest in? Well, first thing it manifests in is that you actually start to feel a lot of anxiety, right? You start to feel anxiety. Now, why do you feel anxiety? Well, one of the reasons the reason of anxiety is not being able to control certain things. When you're anxious, you feel out of control. You feel like you cannot control something. And guess what being a victim is? It's about not having control, not having a say. So here's the link. The link is very, very common. Is that if you feel like a victim, you are very susceptible to anxiety. In fact, it's one of the root causes of anxiety, in my opinion. So I felt anxious. A lot of time I felt really anxious. I felt anxious about talking. I felt anxious about people, around people. I had this feeling of anxiety for a long time. And I just did not understand where it comes from. Why is it there? And it just keeps on surfacing. Oh, you have an anxiety issue. Well, guess what now? You have a label. Now you have a label. Now, if you're still stuck in victimhood, no one will know that it's because of your victimhood that you feel anxious. No one will know that unless you really introspect yourself and really dig in to see what is going on. Now, I want to keep this short. I don't want to keep it long. However, because the topic is really important, I wanted to expand on it as much as I can. Now, the other thing that it manifests in, like I said, so it manifests in the way that I didn't like my body. I didn't like how I looked in the mirror. And a lot of people are really unsatisfied with the way they look as well. Now, I told you about the things that I felt, but a lot of people don't like the way they look. They might be insecure about their skin. If they have some pimples or things in their skin that they cannot control. They might be around their color. Some people don't like the color of their skin. Some people are very insecure about their hair. The way their hair is, whether maybe it's not soft enough or whatever. Or maybe it has some bald patches. Some people are quite insecure, or they do not accept the shape of their body, whether they're a bit chubby or they're a bit skinny, Or maybe some people, it's the height thing, which I have the height thing as well. It's just a massive thing, as if it's like a big problem in life. But yeah, some people have the height thing. They might feel like they're too tall or they're too short. And you know, the plastic surgery industry is $1 billion industry, and it is growing so fast because, and it's not because people burn themselves and they go have plastic surgeries. That's not the reason why it grows like that. The reason why it's growing is a lot of people are unsatisfied with the way they look. And how sad is that? Is that the vessel, that beautiful vessel that God has created for us, we have been conditioned to hate. We have been conditioned to unaccept. It's really sad. I really think it's really sad to have this reality. And it really stems from being a victim. It stems from not accepting what has happened in your life. If you solve this issue, the issue of not liking how you look will get solved straight away, because it won't even be an issue as it was for me. It was an issue, but then it's not an issue anymore. So, that's one of the things. That's one of the points I want to make. The other thing that it manifests in is that I did not like my personality. Now, why didn't I like my personality? I'm somebody who knows how to talk. I'm eloquent. I'm sensitive to people. I would say I'm quite likable. People like me. And yet I did not like my personality. Again, that's where it stems from, being a victim. And so I did not like the part of me that is sensitive. I was like, why am I so sensitive to people? I should be a man. I should be more masculine. Now, masculinity is good. Masculinity is about achieving. It's about taking a step forward. It isn't about not being sensitive. But I had that wrong idea that because I'm sensitive, I'm not masculine. It's got nothing to do with that. In fact, being sensitive, it's so valuable. People pay therapists because they're just sensitive to their feelings. And people would pay so many dollars or whatever, thousands, whatever, to therapists because I'm sensitive. And I rejected that characteristic of me because of this. Now I want to relate it back to you. Is the part of the personality that you don't like. You might be shy. You don't like being shy. But you don't know that this is so attractive. Being shy has its own charm. And people reject it these days. And I see so many people, they hate about themselves that they're shy. Because the media, again, it's the media effect on people, saying to them, you gotta be outgoing, you gotta be the life of the party, you gotta know how to talk, get yourself out there, be confident, step into it. People will eat you up if you're not confident and talking. And it's a really sad reality. We're trying to fit people into one box. Whereas if you're shy, it's a beautiful thing. If you're actually shy, I'm not saying that you're shy because you're afraid. That's a different thing. That's an issue. I'm just saying if your personality is somebody who's a bit more reserved, that's a beautiful thing that you need to embrace. So that's one of the things that I really wanted to highlight. Now, the other thing that I wanted to touch on is what are the results of victimhood? What does it result in? Well, the result in life when you feel like a victim are very minimal. They're very mediocre, whatever. They're really bad results. You don't get much in life if you feel like a victim. Why? Because at the core of how you feel is unworthiness. You don't feel worthy for achieving something. So no matter how much you try, you're gonna always fail. You're gonna always make sure you're gonna sabotage yourself and make sure that you always fail. Whether that's canceling something, not sticking to something, procrastination, you're always gonna make sure that you don't succeed because deep down you feel you're unworthy. And that's how I felt. I really felt unworthy. I didn't feel worthy of being rich. I didn't feel worthy of having a beautiful relationship. I didn't feel worthy of living in an amazing house because of my victimhood. And you know how, again, what a sad thing to live a life where you feel unworthy. That's so sad because what do you mean you're unworthy? Then who is worthy? Well, there are a group of people that we feel like those chosen people are worthy and those are not worthy. It's really ridiculous to think that. And who determines who's worthy or who's unworthy? You know, we're all worthy. And you're worthy of the best thing as much as I am. And again, because of this, because of the victimhood, not feeling like I'm worthy, I always felt jealous of other people. You know, when they succeed or when they have something that I want, instantly inside of me I feel jealous because I felt like unworthy. But if I'm unworthy, then why are they worthy of it? Why they got it? Again, that's just a result of being like a victim. So now, talked a lot about the problem. What is the solution? What has helped me in my life to get out of being a victim? I don't feel like a victim anymore. I don't hate my body. I love who I am. I'm very satisfied with what I am, and I'm on my way to make life better for me. And I really feel worthy at the core of me. So what has really helped me in that? First thing, guys, is recognition. Start to recognize the story. Being a victim is a story, guys. You play it. You play that story. It's a record in your mind. The record started at the first time you felt like a victim. Then you play the record. Then you just keep on going. Oh my God, look at me, look at my body, look at my face. Oh my God, you don't even know what happened to me. Oh my God, I feel sorry for myself. My God, why am I like that? I'm not worthy of this. I'm not worthy of this job. I'm not worthy of having a lot of money. It's a story. It's a role. And right now, it might still be unconscious for you, but I want you to bring it into your consciousness. Because the first step of solving a deep issue is to bring it forward, bring it into consciousness. Look at it. It's like when they say you gotta face the monster head on. So you gotta face your fear. You gotta face this. You gotta bring it forward. And the way to bring it forward is detach yourself from it. You know, notice it's a story. It's one of your stories. And the other thing that I want to touch on, because some people will feel like, oh, but you don't know the result of trauma. You don't know the effect of trauma. You know what? I do know the effect of trauma because I have studied trauma, not very extensively, but I have read about it and I know about trauma. So here's what happens when you have a traumatic event. And if you want to learn more about this, you read a book called The Body Keeps the Score. It really talks a lot about trauma and how we can overcome it. So when a traumatic event happens to you, let's say you're sexually abused, physically abused, whatever happens to you, your body keeps that energy. Now the energy, it keeps it when you don't express it. A part of you doesn't express it, so it gets kept in the body. Now naturally, the body will get rid of this trauma. Naturally. If you leave it there, the body will get rid of it. Either at some point you're going to cry and it's going to come out. Maybe you're going to go play and it's just going to come out. Your body just shakes it off. Because our body is designed to make us balanced. To take us into homeostasis, I think it's called. To take us into balance. However, we don't allow it. How we do not allow it to do? We don't allow it because we keep repeating the story in our head. So we keep the trauma. We keep really re-traumatizing ourselves. That's what happens. It's not that your dad hit you or maybe your mom hit you and this is why you feel like that. It's because you have really kept telling yourself this story over and over again. If you want to get rid of it, stop telling yourself the story. You know, what else did your dad do? You know, a lot of people just have like one point of view in the past, but they haven't seen the other side. You know, they haven't seen it. They just see the past in one victimhood lenses. They don't really shed a light into what happened overall. That's a problem. So the first thing, like I said, is bring awareness into it. Now, the second thing, in order to deal with being like, you feel like a victim. Now, the second thing, and how I started to recognize it in me. First of all, I recognized it in me. I brought it forward. I knew that it's a victimhood. Second thing that I did, I started asking, how does this serve me? If you have been feeling like a victim all your life, it has served you in some way. Now, it doesn't have to be positive, it could be negative as well. But always ask, what is the payoff in this? People keep the same story if it pays them something. What do I mean by that? Now, the payoff for me is that it kept me in my comfort zone. I was comfortable. All I needed to do is go get a job, 9 to 5 job, make a living, and somebody tells me something. I can tell them about my struggle. I can tell them about how much I struggle in life. And that's it. That I'm safe. Well, it's a really false sense of safety because I'm happy. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. But that's what it does. Being a victim keeps you stuck. It makes you stay in your little bubble. You don't have to face your fears. You don't have to be brave. You can just stay where you're at. Right. Stay where you're at. That's one of the things that I started really to get me out of it. I don't want to live a life where I'm just safe and I'm miserable. You know, just like anyone else who just goes to their job and they're not happy. I don't want to be like that. You know, who amongst you think that you are here for more? Who am I? I thought I'm here for more. You know, I didn't come to this life just to live. I came to enjoy life. I came to achieve. I came to impact people. So that realization really made me get out of my victim mode. Now, these are the two that you can do. Is get out of victimhood, recognize it, detach from it, and realize what it actually how it serves you. And I promise you, being aware of it is 90% of the healing. Guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been a heavy topic, and I really feel like I hope that I have helped you in some way. I have shared my story in order for you to recognize it for yourself, and so you can actually go into heal from it and really achieve your dream. Do whatever you came to decide to do. Thank you.